how do y'all pass on concerns to the utilities?
I talk.
Okay, all right.
But it's mainly dip, which you probably aware of this, and they get in their cars and make a left, and that's the main entrance. Hopefully you get that soon.
What you talking about, fixing the street right here?
Right here.
Right here. Right here, where we stood doing election time. That's the worst.
We are aware, and we've already made contact with contractors and work with us on that project. We're going to actually have to move some last fall.
Okay.
And that's why we can do it ourselves. It's going to be some work we got to do.
I've heard from one or two citizens, I just happen to remember tonight, because the last citizen said some language I can't repeat in here. After they hit their car.
Well, we hope to get it done first.
Thank you. We just talked about that today, right? Just a few minutes ago. Yeah, the county said their plan is back up and running again, but they need us to pay the money ahead of time in order to get the asphalt before they crank it up. And the city manager, you're going to do what? That way. We talked about it. You know, we talked about, let the, well, there's a couple options, that's why we're looking at this bond issue, refinancing, in hopes of generating about $300,000, which would give us some money to do street work. We've got some serious ones, like over in there for Southern Bank and Vision. Mrs. Whitehead, I knew you were ready, you were just ready for that one, weren't you? But over there and all over town, there are places that need to be fixed. When it comes to streets, you all know that. But the manager was going to write the utility board and let them know, remind those of us on the utility board that last year there was the utility board did a fine job of making monies available to help the city on street paving. And we'd like for them to also keep that in mind this year as well. That's what we talked about.
Yeah.
So street paving is a top priority. Go ahead, I know, just go ahead.
Good afternoon. It's like
We're working on it. Turn this. It's not working.
it's not gonna work.
Turn it. Yeah.
I would like to know, do we have a truck? I know we once had a truck that would come down low on the lake and cut those tall trees and weeds close to the water and the curves and going around by Harold Washington's house. Do we still have that truck?
We use our side cutter now, so it actually has an arm on it and it reaches out and cuts down to the water edge. So we still use it, and we've used it around the lake.
But we haven't, that hasn't been cut.
But there may be some areas around the lake that it can't get to, particularly soft or wet in a certain area. But we use it to cut the lake, and we haven't used it in the past.
That has been cut. I remember when Mr. Robinson was cutting, he cut all of that. I was just wondering if that can be cut.
Well,
The lake looks nice except for those, there's a couple areas like that. Tall trees almost, right at the water.
I take another look at it. When Mr. Robinson cut it, of course, he put a lot of his manpower in there and was able to cut a lot of it. But we'll look at it and see what the problem is.
Okay, and also, when will they come over on the lake to pick up some trash? We have some trash that's been laying there near, I think it's over there near Fred Gray's. What's your street?
Lakeview Drive?
Lakeview Drive. It's been there for months. All the way down the side. And it just looks bad, especially during the Christmas season now. If someone could come over and, A lot of trimming took place over there, but it hasn't been picked up.
We'll take it.
Yes, ma'am. Council Lady Moon, Whitehead, did you, Council Lady Whitehead, did you finish?
Mr. Adams is here, and I know the Clean Cities Committee had talked about a contest between the districts. They were going to give a plaque or a certificate to the best decorated district of the Christmas season, and also the storefronts downtown Tuskegee. So I don't know if that's still on the burner or not. I've asked Mr. Adams if he could please come forward and take about 3 minutes and let us know if we're still going to do that. I saw Mr. Adams come in, and I don't know if that was still on the burner at the last meeting or not. Did they talk about that? Each one of us would cruise our communities and our districts and see which house was the best decorated, and we give out a certificate to that family. I thought that would be a good friendly competition among the districts and also the downtown storefronts.
Yes, we talked about, I want to say that one of the things that we want to do in the city, not only just in the downtown area, but we want to do the community-wide best area in the community district. We want to do that. But the major problem that we're having is that people are not using their trash cans and stuff like they should. Just last weekend, we had a major cleanup on District 1, and we did 4th Street and the whole major area. And I was back out there today picking up mattresses, leaves, and beds and stuff. We need to put some signs out there, and we need to start getting police to start patrolling that area and get some fines.
So as fast as the Clean City
Fast
pick up.
as we pick up and clean up, they come back and mess up. I had a neighbor tell me that it's not our citizens that's coming in. We have people from out of town that drop their trash in the city. And we need to do something about that condition. So we need to do something about that. We need to find some signs and put over there and fine if someone calls for a trash bag, that we will find.
Is it just that specific area that people are using as a dumping zone? I mean, is that something that has been going on, that people are just taking their stuff to that area and dump it out?
Well, there's not only that area, they're using the old chippy ground area, they're using the Washington Avenue area, right down in Washington Avenue area, and Vincent Avenue. And the major part that we had where we was coming in off the 85, off the Franklin Next, they cleaned up there to Washington Avenue and going down Tuskegee City Drive. They just dumped a whole lot of mattresses and stuff there. And we were hoping that we could try to get the truck back up on one of our major cleanups and do a lot of picking up. I know the truck is down, but that wasn't what you called it. The question was, yes, we will be doing judging and things for the Christmas holiday for the best district, best housing, and the person that's done this measure this money to get the flats made. Be the pocket. But we need the citizens to work with us. You know, school is out there. It's just a few of us here that's not going home for.
Adam, as the director of the Clean City Committee, your recommendation to try to prevent this dumping in the future would be to put some signs that might, include the fine for littering.
Yeah.
And Mr. Davis, would that be a possibility to put in those specific areas?
We do put them up all the time, so we can certainly look at those areas as well.
Okay.
Well, our landfill is not up right now.
No. But a lot of this is not necessarily because we don't have a landfill.
I know it's not particular, but some people will take their stuff to a landfill in the area. Everything I get hauled off, I have to take it off. That would help, I think.
I assume it would help.
Mr. Mayor, City Manager, Council, can we possibly publicize what do you do with mattresses, TVs, and that kind of thing? Because, you hear me? Okay, Mr. Manager and City Council, can you probably publicize along with the council what the citizens do with old mattresses, refrigerators, and TVs, electronics? Because I saw that same thing on a county road not far outside of the city limits, and it wasn't there 2 weeks ago. So I think what is happening, some citizens, when they don't have a place to put something or not aware, just dump it anywhere. Because when you clean out your house, your garage, or whatever, you're looking for something to do, you don't want to keep it there because finally you clean it out, they look for anywhere they can dump it. So not only put up signs, I think that's the key thing for Councilman Lee, but I also would hope that we can get with the county and say, this is what we do with old refrigerators, old TVs, old electronics. I ran the same problem at our church. We cleaned out a basement. I guess when a given old TV didn't work, looked like about 20 years old. I didn't know what to do with it. So I think the citizens may need some direction as to where we take old TVs, old appliances, old mattresses, because we certainly can't put them in a dumpster or in a garbage container. So if we could just publicize something in conjunction with the county to direct us where to take those things that may be done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Proceed, council members. Any other points you'd like to raise, Mr. City Manager?
No, sir, other than the fact that I do agree with Ms. Whitehead. I think some of those problems will be solved as we get the landfill back up in operation. Because it will offer some option for those citizens that want to get rid of CG.
Council members, you have a resolution regarding the bond refinancing. It's on the agenda. If there are any questions prior to the council meeting, we'd be happy to entertain those. What we did was, at the council meeting, we decided, instead of taking action the last time, instead appoint a committee with Councilman Lee and myself for the purpose of interviewing investment bankers and meeting with the financial community of our city. And we did do that. We notified First Tuskegee Bank, asked them to bring together those financial persons who have been involved in the IRS bond issue. We contacted PNC, Mr. Bobby Davis at that bank, and asked them if they would come. We contacted the credit union, and Mr. Russo Minifield did come. We contacted Fraser Lanier. We contacted the city manager, contacted people from the industry. And we did have that committee meeting. We met with those who did come. And tonight, we want to put this on the agenda. And I wanted to just put it before the council to see if you had any questions. Councilman Lee, you may want to make any.
I just had a question.
We're still in the working session now.
On the agenda for that item, it says unanimous consent required.
Yes.
So, okay, so I just wanted to be clear. Perhaps maybe, we haven't had a chance as a full council to talk about this. I know, I've talked about it individually, with a couple members of the council, but perhaps maybe we should, you know, enter an executive session to talk specifically about that issue and, you know, about the presentation that was presented to us by the groups and everything.
Okay, that's fine. And the other option, if it's not common consent or unanimous consent, we can schedule another council meeting on Thursday of this week. As I've indicated earlier, this is a season, we're coming up to the end of the year, and we've got some pressing things that we need to do, and some of them are time sensitive. And so, honorable council members, it may necessitate some special meetings, some working sessions. Citizens elected us to work, and so I want to thank you all for having demonstrated thus far your willingness to do that. But we can go into executive session, or we can discuss it here. It doesn't make any difference, whatever. It is time sensitive from the standpoint that in January if we do nothing and continue to pay the interest rates we're paying, we've got a payment due. The annual payment is due in January 2013. That's the first thing, of approximately $90,000. One of the reasons why this is of concern is because in our last financial report, you noted that the city was in a deficit position. And it's really not going to be until, well, after the first of the year when you begin to get your ad valorem taxes to really build up your revenue. So we've got some pressing financial challenges facing us. But in this particular instance, January 1st, you've got a $90,000 commitment that you have to meet. Number two, who knows what interest rates are going to do. And thirdly, we have a chance to get about $300,000 at least from this refinancing, which we certainly do need for street paving and street work. So those are some of the issues. So we can address it here or later.
One question,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Mayor. Thank you. Was our finance director, Mr. Hopkins, at the meeting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We hear from him. Yes.
It doesn't have to be in this room, but.
Yeah. The city manager was there. The finance director, council member Lee, who was chairing the committee, and yours truly. And we had even a local person, Russo Minifield, was there, and he spoke. He gave his opinion in terms of, I don't know if he's here tonight, but indicated it's something that was a no-brainer, something that we ought to really take advantage of. But at any rate, we contacted people. That's the important thing is we didn't just have Fraser Lanier there.
Right, they were
Yeah.
the other ones that were presenting. And I was actually looking forward to hearing presentations from other groups as well, specifically, you know, local entities that would at least like to propose and take a part in this, but none were present at the time.
At what point do we notify any other entities or send letters to them?
There were both PNC Bank and wanted to present, but they just couldn't make it on that particular day. They have requested to have an opportunity to make a presentation, but they were not available on the day that the meeting was held.
Was there a response from First Tuskegee Bank?
They also indicated that they would be willing to consider, but it was kind of last minute for both of these entities, and they didn't have time to pull their teams together.
Yeah, that was my concern. Sure. You know, Fraser did do ahead of time, and I'm hoping you give everyone the same amount of time, you know, to consider so we get better comparability in terms of opportunity for others and for us, you know, the best rates. The more time we give everyone in the process, I think better opportunity we have to get a better rate, better results for the city.
Now, let's make sure we're clear now. We decided as a council that we wanted to have this meeting. So Fraser Lanier was notified, as well as others, about that particular meeting. And I don't know what else you want us to do. But there's no problem. I mean, we can, and it's time sensitive because January the 1st, to do a bond issue, you know, it's time sensitive. It's not a major bond issue, really. If you all don't want to do it, then, you know, it's fine. Or if you want to have another meeting on it, we can do it in executive session. It's actually 6 o'clock now, but go ahead, Mr. Attorney.
Just one thing.
Oh, the attorney was there too.
It's on.
Just one thing on the executive session.
Yeah.
We could only go into executive session to discuss good name and character
Right.
or litigation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we understand that.
Which we could do with that.
We understand that.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, we understand that. So whatever the council wants to do on these, I'm like President Obama in his first debate. It was kind of rocky, but from that point on, whatever comes, let it come on. Let it roll.
The findings though of that report from that presentation, they presented a plan that would refinance the tax warrants under the current interest rates, which are a lot lower than the rates that when it was originally set up. That was, I guess, another reason, you know, that it's time sensitive. A lot of financial experts are anticipating rates to go up at the beginning of the year. I'm not a financial expert by any means, but just I wanted to let the council and the public know those were the major findings from that report. And it would also provide us with some upfront cash, which, you know, I think we kind of said that we need some cash for road improvements.
Not kind of.
Well, we do need cash for road improvements. So that was their presentation. And like I said, I really was looking forward to hear from other entities as well. If it's possible to still hear from them and still meet the time sensitive, you know, requirements, you know, I would like to do that.
Well, 6 o'clock, according to my clock, we hereby call this council meeting to order. We want to say good evening to all of you and ask that our chaplain, we have a team of chaplains, but our premier chaplain, Reverend Leonard, to come and lead us in the invocation and let us all stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Hereby call this council meeting December 11th, 2012 to order. That can work. That was work. That will work.
Let us all bow our heads, if you will. Eternal Father, the Father of our Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ, we come at this appointed time thanking you for the bountifulness of all of your goodness. We thank you for your mercy, your grace. We thank you for an opportunity to come and mingle our voices together and pray your peace, Lord, upon this group and upon our city. And ask, Lord, that you let the Prince of Peace speak in our hearts and our minds and our soul during this Christmas season. For truly you are the reason for the season. And Father, we thank you for a city that we can come and share our thoughts and our ideas with each other in peace and harmony. And ask that, Lord, that you would give us that spirit that runs from heart to heart and breast to breast, recognizing that we are fortunate to have a city such as Tuskegee, and a city where, number one, people have come to build ideas and build on dreams, so that those dreams might be able to flow and soar. We ask all your blessings, Lord, upon our council persons, upon our mayor, upon our lawyer, upon our manager, and ask that you would guide them and let the wisdom that you've given them guide us, that we might be the greatest good, as George Washington Carver said, the greatest good to the greatest number of people. It's in the name of Jesus the Christ we ask it all. Amen.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Johnny Ford,
Here.
Councilman at Large Lawrence Haygood Jr., Councilman Frank Christopher Lee II,
Here.
Councilwoman Ella Whitehead, Councilwoman Georgette Moon. Here.
Okay, please note that all of the members of the council are present and we do have a quorum. We will now go to our citizens' communications. Mr. City Manager, if you would time the comments for 3 minutes. You'll be our official timer, and at this time, we welcome any comments, particularly if you have any written comments that you'd like to present to us for consideration, or any verbal ones. And we'll proceed. Harrington, you don't have to get up. We can just bring that mic to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Manager, and those assisting. I noticed on the agenda tonight there is a public hearing regarding the old bus station. Is it on the agenda for tonight?
Oh, yes, in terms of a beverage license.
Yes.
Yeah, that's on the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Should I make my comment now or at that time?
No, you can do it now. Just make it 3 minutes.
Oh, well, I've timed it.
No problem.
An appeal to Tuskegee City Council for historic preservation. One of the highlights of this evening's meeting, the Tuskegee City Council meeting is scheduled a public hearing to address the request for an alcohol beverage license. The request specifically relates to the GS Package Store, 203 Martin Luther King Highway. The site is recognized as the old...
Mr. Mayor, Dr. Harris.
I'm sorry.
Please forgive me, but because this properly should be in the public hearing, because it sounds like it's either going to be a comment for or against.
Yes. Should I hold it?
It should be held for the hearing.
I certainly respect and will hold my comment until that time. Thank you very much, Mr.
If you notice, whatever they want to do, it's fine with me. So you want to do it? No problem. Next. Dothan Edwards. Class.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City Attorney, City Manager, and citizens. Tonight, and I think I passed out to each one of the council people, but I want to read some of these committees that I would like to see, not all of them, but we can pick one we want out to look into. And these committees have something to do with the overall city. The first one is the Public Works Committee. Okay, and the Public Works Committee, we know the Public Works look at ways of paving streets, cleaning up lots and things of that nature. The next one would be a Park and Recreation Committee. Now, I'm understanding that the city has some of these committees already, but I have not. I've been back 5 years, and I have not heard needing anything like that. Special Recreation Committee. Now, I propose in the Recreation Committee, since city don't have any money and the county don't have any money, why don't we just join and make a Recreation Committee for city and county? And look at some ways that we can create some things for the citizens and also for the young adults. The next one we already have as the Clean City Committee. I would like to see it improve more. One of the reasons is because the Clean City can do a lot. I heard tonight, I think Councilman Haygood brought up, want to know what to do with refrigerators and computers and TVs and things. I'm standing here before I have a connection that I can bring them to Tuskegee to be picked up. I did that 2 years ago. We didn't get very much turnout, okay? I'm in charge of the committee in Montgomery for getting rid of your old checks and papers that you want destroyed. I can bring that into if you want me to bring it in. Those kind of things, that we work together, we can get a lot done. The next one is a neighborhood watch. Neighborhood watch, I think we have some getting on board now. But in the neighborhood watch, if the police will work with the neighborhood watch, we can have more eyes. I know we're short of personnel in the police department, but the more people you have on the streets that right now tag numbers, seeing stuff illegal, people throwing trash down, we can also do that. The next one is transportation committee. We need that in this community, a transportation committee. The next one is the industrial development committee. We need that. Here's the next one that we need real bad. That's a tourism committee. Getting committed together to bring more tourism to Tuskegee. The next one is a housing committee. 1 minute, okay, then I just have to wait until the other part. The next is the housing committee. This one here, I would love to see. 3 minutes up, okay. But let me say this one, then I'll wait until the other time. I'd like to see the city have a leadership academy for this city here, where we can have people understanding exactly what's going on together. And I'll bring others up later. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next.
Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and the staff, Mr. City Manager, I want to ask a couple of questions about the agenda. I see on here where you have a public vote on the form of government, and I'm wondering, it says for a discussion item. However, I'm wondering, is there going to be an opportunity for a public hearing on that particular matter? And also on item number 3 under discussion items, the 1% increase in sales tax, so that you can give the citizens an opportunity to voice our opinions about those particular matters, not within the 3-minute time that is allocated for now, but for when you're going to consider those measures. As we probably all know, the 1% sales tax is going to affect the poor and middle-class people of this community more so than it will the wealthy. And I think that we definitely look at how can we get the wealthy of this community to pay its fair share versus taxing the people who are poor and middle class. On the ordinance that you're looking at having Frazier and Lanier to be considered for the $1.1 million, I'm aware that the $90,000 payment is already in reserve. So it's not a big issue that you will miss this December 31st deadline. However, I think it's important that we give the opportunity to the other lenders, particularly, Mr. Lee, in this community, as you said, you'd like to see happen. First Tuskegee Bank and PNC Bank both have come forward, I understand, wanting to give a bid or an opportunity to be considered for this matter. And also in the ordinance, it appears that Section 3 gives the sole authority to the mayor to decide whether or not to accept to go forward with this bond issue. And I think that is an abridgment of the rights of this council to put the sole authority in one individual when you all should be deciding on behalf of all of us. And then lastly, the $100 that I understand will be given or is proposed to be given as a one-time adjustment to employees. how much will this cost the city, us taxpayers? And is it in the present budget? And I suppose you can deal with those questions when you come to that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Mr. Attorney, in the ordinance on the bond issue, where did you give sole authority to the mayor to do anything? I did notice that that's the way the other one was constructed, but I'm not interested in having sole authority in doing anything. This issue will be brought. This issue should be brought before the full council, and as a group, we vote on it as a council. What is she talking about?
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, when the ordinance is presented, we'll ensure that it says council instead of mayor.
Okay, all right, great. And secondly, the approximate cost for the one-time cost of living increase for the city employees will be about $12,000. One of the things that we are working hard to do in this administration is make sure that whatever happens on the utility board side also happens on the general government side. All of our employees are important, and we want harmony. If the utility employees get it, the general government employees should get it. All the employees are important. The fellows on the sanitation truck who pick up the garbage, the trash, they should get it just like those who work in the utility department. It's the least we can do for our employees. The employees right now are taking a 15% cut in their salaries across the board because of the IRS challenge that we have. And that's one of the things that we are moving on as fast as possible. We met with the Internal Revenue Service, myself, the district attorney, as well as our finance director and the city manager, and I can give a full report tonight in terms of where we are. But one of the things that we want to do is not only negotiate that internal revenue debt down as far as possible, because when we met with the Internal Revenue Service, we found out that we had a $3.9 million indebtedness, but of that amount, 1.2 million were penalties. That is the area that we propose to focus our negotiations upon, because we know that the Internal Revenue Service does have some flexibility when it comes to penalties and even interest. So one of the reasons why we did not rush in, the majority of the council did not rush into the other bond issue is because we wanted to take time to see how far down we could negotiate the cost of the indebtedness. And that is what we are in the process of doing. That bond issue, once it is completed and before we select anyone, the council will select whoever is going to do the bond issue. We'll invite anyone in the field who's interested in bidding or submitting a proposal to submit a proposal to this city government, and we will evaluate and come up with one whom we feel can give us the best arrangement. What I do want to speak publicly on tonight is that Fraser Lanier, though they've served our city for years, does not have any exclusive right to do business with our city. And I also want to thank you, my friend. He's still a young man. I also want to clear the fact that I do not have a personal relationship with Fraser Lanier. Some have tried to circulate that opinion. I have served in the securities industry as a consultant when I was not mayor. And of course, I've worked with Fraser Lanier and other securities industries. when I was not mayor. But I have no connection with Fraser Lanier. And so I want to make that clear from an ethical standpoint. My conscience is clear. So they will be considered like everyone else. And we are going to make a special effort to make sure that local vendors, whoever they are, have an opportunity to bid for city business. Another reason why on the bond issue, we wanted to take our time to try to negotiate it down, because we want to settle the Internal Revenue Service indebtedness, and we also want to take this 15% cut off of our city employees. It is unfair for them to have to shoulder that burden. They should not have to do that. And we are certainly going to make sure that we address that issue as soon as possible. So again, to answer the question, the least we can do for the employees for Christmas is to give each one of them $100. Wish we could do more, but if the utility board employees, and that was already proposed by the utilities board, if they are going to do that for their employees, the city government employees should be treated fairly and equal in this instance. But about 12,000. The chair now will entertain anyone else who has any comments. Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Willie Scroggins, and I have a company that's in its infancy called Scroggins Solutions. And right now, my company has 2 phases. One is law enforcement, one is quality control. And I've been retained by some Tuskegee locals to assist the new administration in their efforts to bring Tuskegee into accordance with safe roads, streets, and community, and adequate recreation facilities. I've been under the weather for a week or 2. I had a forced birthday celebration. And so now I'd just like to congratulate all you guys for being elected and being re-elected. And I'm ready to assist you all in each one of your districts to make certain that, that we don't leave any community citizen out of the improvements. And I think that's about all.
Good. All right. Thank you. Hope you're feeling better.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for getting that sheet for me. Thanks. Are there others? 3-minute comments? Feel free.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council, City Attorney. My comments are not going to take long. I just want to reiterate again the point that I made last time about the agenda, where I requested that there be a spot reserved at the end of the agenda for citizens' input, so that anything that were to come up during the course of a meeting could be addressed by citizens before the next council meeting. Thank you.
Good. And we accept that in the spirit offered. If you notice, normally, even though it's not on the agenda, we do make that allowance. And we can formally put it on the, you can have 2 if the council so desires. David.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I have a concern about when you look at the interest and the penalties that are already on the IRS debt, and the fact that it's going to be continuously compounded. How much do you think you're really going to save when we already owe the attorneys that did the first bond issue somewhere around $50,000, and we're still paying this $10,000 a month in at least $10,000 in interest. I mean, as that continues to add up, it begins to eat into whatever savings you're seeing that you are going to realize. And so my question to you is, how much do you expect to really save? And then with all these expenditures, with the city already not in the black, where's the money going to come from?
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I'm glad that you brought that issue before us again. Listen to me, citizens, please. You're talking about your tax dollars. Here is an opportunity for the city to put this issue behind us once and for all. And by taking time, I want to say to the citizens, I felt proud of my tax dollars when I was able to go to the Internal Revenue Service, meet with the top official who was an African-American lady. When I walked in the office, there was a picture of Barack Obama hanging on the wall. And an African-American who was a security man said, we had a real struggle with these folks down here. They didn't want to put his picture up. Well, I can tell you, the lady who's in charge of the Internal Revenue Service for the Middle District of Alabama is a professional lady. She took more than 2 hours with me to go through every payment from 2007 to 2012 that had been made by the city of Tuskegee. She highlighted those that were late. She highlighted those that did not have the correct amount paid. In other words, she went through it line item by line item. And then she totaled it up. Out of the $3.9 million, $1.2 million were penalties. And the other amount that was extremely high was the interest that had accrued. Now, the penalty, that's the area that we plan to sit down and negotiate with the Internal Revenue Service on. She didn't have to do that, but she did. Then second, the next time I went back, the district attorney could not be there, but he was on the conference call. And E. Paul Jones did an outstanding job by letting her know that the reason why the bond issue was held up by the council was not necessarily because the council wanted to do that, or just because we were a new administration. But the judge, the circuit judge, ruled from the bench, one, that the bond issue, he was not going to approve that bond issue going forward. And secondly, the judge stated from the bench that the city government should make a greater effort on behalf of its taxpayers to get the debt down. Why pay $3.9 million? Why borrow at $5 million and your debt is listed at only $3.9 million? Why don't you try to meet with the Internal Revenue Service and negotiate it down? It was a judge who said that he knew of instances where other municipalities and agencies had been able to negotiate with the Internal Revenue Service and get indebtedness down, in some cases excused or exempt. So the point is, it was a judge who said that one, he was not going to go along with the bond issue until a greater effort had been made to reduce the indebtedness, and secondly, he wanted the district attorney to be involved in the process. And so we are simply following the court's mandate in terms of how to handle this matter. Now, the second point I want the citizens of this city to know, and you ought to be proud of the fact, that if you have a problem with Internal Revenue Service as a citizen, there is a division of the Internal Revenue Service that is called the Citizens Advocate Division. What that division does, just like HUD has a division that advocates for citizens, if you have a housing problem with HUD, that division becomes an advocate for you. Though they are a part of the Internal Revenue Service, they are a neutral. Their responsibility is to look out for citizens, to make sure that they are treated fairly by the Internal Revenue Service. And so we've written a letter, and we want to make a copy of it available to the press and to the public. The city manager has a copy. We wrote a letter to the advocacy division stating, one, that Tuskegee has, like most municipalities, had a hardship situation with the economy, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, we pleaded our case. They are located in Birmingham. We plan, just like I went to Montgomery, to meet with them. The Internal Revenue Service says, we'll come to you all. I said, no, you don't have to come to us. We owe you. We'll come to you. We plan to go to Birmingham and meet with them and plead our case. And when we go, we are going to take the district attorney will be there, I'll be there, our financial people will be there, our lawyer will be there. And we are going to fight on behalf of the citizens of this town to get the best deal we can from the Internal Revenue Service. Now, once we get the deal, once we get the amount down, and I am convinced we will get it down, because the same lady, Mrs. Wilson, who helped us back in 2004 when we inherited a similar situation, set up a plan of action for us to work, and we just didn't keep that plan. That's what happens, and it accrued over the years. You all know what happened. It's public information. But the point is, Mr. Davis, yes, some interest is accruing, but let me also inform the citizens and the press what happened during that meeting with the Internal Revenue Service. They pointed out to us that there were 3 small overdue tax bills that we had, which totaled about $3,000. And off the record, they said, obviously it makes a better impression if you take care of those old, small, even though they're small, they're old. So during this month, we will take care of those. It's about $3,000. The city manager and finance director can give you the precise figure. And then the next point is, the council was under the impression, in particular during the campaign, the public was under the impression that the last administration was current on its obligations to the Internal Revenue Service. That was not totally correct. For the Internal Revenue Service had requested the city to make one lump sum payment of $100,000. The city was not in a financial position to do that. And so there was an indebtedness on that. While the city was paying its monthly $17,000 a month commitment as a part of a payment plan, it was not current on the $100,000. So when I contacted the Internal Revenue Service, the first thing they said to me when they pulled the city of Tuskegee's record is, the city is in default. You have not kept your commitment. And so I immediately informed the city manager and the finance director, the city attorney, the district attorney, and this month the city manager is going to see that, and the finance director, that we do pay that $100,000 during the month of December. So it means that before we go into negotiations, we will be current on everything. No need of going into the negotiations if you have not kept your commitment on the existing commitment that they made. Mr. City Manager, did I miss anything? Am I, as you remember, and the Finance Director is here too. You want to come up, Mr. Finance Director, if he's here?
You did
okay.
mistake one thing.
Okay.
We were certainly aware of the $100,000 payment, and it wasn't due until like August. And so we had already made contact with the IRS. The finance director already talked to them and worked out an arrangement to pay them $100,000.
And this month, what the council needs to know is whether or not this is going to be paid this month and will be current.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Presently, we owe them $60,000.
Okay, from the 100.
Yeah. We're gonna pay them another 20 this week, and we're gonna negotiate the other 40 for to see if we can pay that later on in the month.
Okay, so you are working on that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but the answer to Mr. Davis' question, we know that there's some interest accruing, but overall, our goal is to try to get the debt down as much as we can before we go into the bond market. Okay, next question. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I said it's 20,000 next week.
Use your mic.
This week.
Sorry, this week. Thank you.
And that's what, as you can see, the city, yeah. And one of the reasons, oh, I forgot to mention, thank you, Mrs. Smith, Councilman Moon, Councilor Moon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It is my understanding that Mrs. Wilson said if we stay current, we can negotiate the penalties and interest. And I left that meeting, it was my understanding. And it was my understanding that council was under the impression that we were current. Now, sometimes you have to negotiate here and there, and it is my understanding that because of the economy, that is what you're doing. Our revenue didn't sustain our ability to pay on time.
That's true. We had 3 payrolls tonight. We were supposed to pay
And we were short those months on our payment. Now, with our debt ceiling, when we borrow, when we go and refinance that, if this is what the council decides to do, what would that do to our debt limit? When we refinance.
Well, you know, the debt limit is 20% of the assessed property value. So what happens, we subtract that 20%, we subtract that debt that's outstanding already, which is the general obligation warrant is one of those debts. The gas tax warrant is another one, and the note in the PNC Bank is another one. But the IRS debt was added to that debt limit also, so we are in excess of our debt limit. Excess, I don't know about that.
Did he answer your
But
question?
I can give you the total numbers later.
Now, the bond issue that we're proposing to finance, we're not proposing to increase the bottom line from what the original principle was when we did it. For the benefit of the taxpayers, the indebtedness we're talking about is a $1.1 million bond indebtedness that we did in 2005 or whenever. And the purpose of it was to fix streets. This indebtedness is insured, or this indebtedness will be repaid from the gasoline tax fund. And those dollars can only be used for street work, street staff and administration, etc. We primarily use those funds to fix streets in the downtown area of our city. But as all of you know, there are many streets throughout this city that still need to be improved. And that's why one of the reasons why we're looking at the restructuring. But this refinancing is not designed to go beyond the indebtedness level. This would bring it back to its original level and at a lower interest rate and keep the payments basically the same, and that savings will be realized and we'll be able to get it up front and use it for street paving. The city manager?
One clarification on the $100,000. When we did the agreement with IRS, we even knew at that time, and we noted it to the IRS, that was going to be very challenging to make that $100,000 payment in August, which is the time of the year when the city has no revenue. So we knew that, they knew that may be a problem on that $100,000 payment. We indicated at the time. They also indicated to us we had issues to come back to them at the appropriate time, which we did, and told them that that was going to be a challenge because that's the time of year that there's no revenue flowing in the city in June, July, August. So they were on notice that we were going to come back. We did go back as we had indicated to them and expressed to them that we were able to make our monthly payments, but anytime you have to make a $100,000 payment at one time for a city in the situation that Tuskegee's in, that's going to be challenging. So we did make the request, and they did work with us accordingly to try to put a plan in to deal with that once a year $100,000 payment.
Okay, so next, thank you, Mrs. Smith. Did any other council members have any questions?
Just one more
Oh,
question.
please, okay.
As the chief financial officer of this city, would you recommend that this would be a good financial move for this council to make at this time?
Which one?
I'm talking about the refinancing of
Gasoline tax?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it would be a good move at this point.
Thank you.
Can you speak up, please?
You said yes. I said yes.
As a matter of fact, point of special privilege. Would you please come up, young man, introduce yourself. And this is for the information of the public. We just happen to have a financial legal advisor here. Would you give your opinion representing, what's the name? Brandon Coma is the principal. What's the name of your firm?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Edward Norwood with Comer Capital Group out of Jackson, Mississippi. What we are,
and let me just preface, this is not in order to give you any type of advantage in our consideration. But this is your area, and since you're in the house, we're going to put you to work to explain to our citizens the advantages or disadvantages in your frank opinion.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, this is one of those 3 public minutes.
What?
Is this one of the comments?
No. This is a point of special privilege. Since we have, I want to inform the citizens, if you don't mind. This is public information. Go right ahead.
Okay.
You can do it.
Again, Edward Norwood with Comer Capital Group out of Jackson, Mississippi. We're a minority-owned financial advisory firm that assists cities, counties, school districts, any government or quasi-government agency, acquire funding, refinance debt, economic development plans, feasibility plans, etc. So our job is to assist our clients with actually finding the best structure to meet their current needs. Talked with Mayor Ford, about a month ago, realized that there were some opportunities for you guys to save some money on your 2007 gasoline tax warrants. Those warrants were originally issued in 2007 for about $1.1 million. At the time, those rates ranged, it was a 15-year deal, I believe, or 20-year deal at the time, with interest rates ranging from 3.85% up to 4.25%. Rates right now are a lot lower than they were in 2007, which provides a good opportunity for the city to, in essence, refinance that debt and save some money. We believe if we were to refinance that debt today, assuming that we can get that debt with the AA or A rated, you can take that rate from about 4% down to less than 3%, meaning saving the city some money. In addition to doing that, you actually have the caveats. I know the mayor looking at increasing the streets, finding money to increase streets. what we looked at doing was to, in essence, match what you're paying out right now. You're paying out about $100,000 a year. The gas fund's paying out $100,000 a year for principal and interest on 2007 bonds. So if you want to keep that $100,000 payment the same, moving forward, we can actually get about $350,000 approximately right now for street improvements. The good and bad of this transaction. Good, rates are now at historic lows, and everybody knows that it's been on the news. However, most people think that rates are going to start ticking up in 2013. The question is, how fast will those rates tick up? If I could tell you the answer to that, I wouldn't be in front of you today. However, realizing that rates are low now, the city has needs to actually get money for financing, as well as keep your payments the same. There's a good opportunity to go through this project. That's a high-level overview. I'd be happy to take questions.
Okay. Any questions from the council? He is an expert. This is what he does every day, advises cities. Is there any citizen who have a question? Okay, hey, introduce your name.
Sure. Edward Norwood.
And they have to know what, have you looked at the overall financial picture of the city in terms of the total body indebtedness and other outstanding responsibilities of the city?
Yes and no. I know you guys, well, there's two parts to it. One, the only obligation, the gas tax and warranty is what I've been primarily focused on. I know you guys are looking at doing some other obligations, some general fund obligations, but my primary focus was actually on the gas tax, and that provides the most savings in this time for the city.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your mic.
Just speak up.
Testing.
Okay.
Sorry.
Clear? Okay, great.
To
All right. Council Lady Moon, you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions for Mr. Norwood at this time.
Okay. Any Councilman Whitehead?
I don't
Councilman
have any
Reed?
question for him right now, but I'd like to sit and listen to some more of that. So that you reiterate what you say.
Sure, I'll be happy to.
And as I said, he's a legal advisor, and they are the ones who actually brought it to our attention. This is what they do. They step in the market and cities. So thank you, and this does not give you any advantage. Is there any other financial advisor in the city, in here tonight? We'll hear from them as well. Is Russo Medfield here? Russo gave us his opinion.
There's no 5 years tax is already up. Oh, but it helps us get that. Our gas tax is already up. It helps get that. Deal with that gasoline gas.
Well, what happens is calculations actually based, yeah, it's a little bit different. The calculation is based on tax rates based on the state, based on population. So there's a, now I don't want to go into details of how the calculation is based.
I just asked one question.
Yeah, but
it help.
Excuse me. We've been doing.
It would help, it wouldn't.
Can you? Why don't you go ahead, Ms. Noah, and please answer this question.
We don't have no money here. It helps.
Yeah, what happens is you guys already get an allocation. In essence, you're getting an allocation from the state already based on the population. So that money's already being hit.
Thank you. Ms. Norwood, stop while you're here. Now there.
Duly noted.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Norwood, would you be available in the, when you want, executive session or after, when, anytime?
Sure. Would you be available in the coming work session? Okay, well, we like the whole picture. Appreciate it. Thank you for the information.
Great. And they are headquartered in Montgomery as well. He's from Jacksonville and Montgomery as well. Okay, sir.
I want to let Mr. James go first, then I come back.
No, go ahead.
My question was on Clean City. Mr. Edwards, you was talking about doing the recycling. Yes, we are scheduled doing the recycling the second or third part of November. Of New Year.
Am I out of order?
No. Let's see how the two of you all get along.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think you misunderstood me about recycling. I never go into recycling, okay? What I was speaking of, Councilman Haygood brought up about TVs and appliances. Okay, TVs you cannot put in a landfill. City manager knows that. You have to pay to dispose of your TVs. Your computers have to be disposed of. You have to pay $5 for that. And refrigerators, the city manager knows this. Each refrigerator right now bring about $11 to $12 if you carry it to the scrap place. So I think what we need to do as a community is put the information out there where all these rumors and all this other stuff is taking place. I've been speaking of this for 4 years. Cut down on the rumors and misunderstanding. Now, the other thing I was talking about, recycling, just did it last week in Montgomery. We take in your old checks and all your paperwork and we grind it up. You can sit right there and watch it. It doesn't cost you a penny. The university would be glad to piggyback on it, to get rid of the all papers and stuff that you have in your home. All you have to do is contact me. I make one phone call. We have to publish it for a month in the newspaper where people in Tuskegee will know. The last one we had 2 years ago, okay, we only got 3,000 pounds out of Tuskegee because people didn't know anything about it. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
So, are you two satisfied? Did he answer your question?
What I was trying to tell you was that
You two might.
same thing he was talking about doing, you did 2 years ago, we're going to do the same thing again.
Okay.
That's what I was saying.
Good, good.
Longer recycling.
Okay, good. So ladies, you heard from the two chairmen of clean committees. I know Mr. Dothan Evans at one point was serving the city in that capacity, or at least helping us. And thank you for what you're doing, both of you. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Ford, Council, City Manager, and staff, God bless you all this evening. I have 4 questions. One is, could somebody tell me what's the latest on the budget? Who would I find out about what was ever decided about the budget? And then the other one is, we're just talking about Clean City. On here it says discussion items, open containers. What does that mean, like clean up open containers? Is that, or is that bottles? What is that?
No, that's alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
Maybe,
Thank you.
that may be consumed and enjoyed or utilized in public functions, festivals, like downtown Montgomery has the Jubilee. They have open.
Thank you. And then the third one is, will I be able to say something about the legend, about the landmark and the liquor? Will I be able to come up again? Okay.
During the public hearing.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I don't know what the latest is on the web page for the city.
Good point.
I'd like to, you know, if it's not anytime real soon, I'd like to ask, is there any way that we could put special meetings, just like we have the regular meetings on the marquees? I mean, I read it in the paper, but sometimes the special meetings might happen within 24 hours or 48 hours.
Right.
And instead of coming inside and looking or calling, can we do that?
Yes, the webpage.
That's a great suggestion.
Right, we should. Councilman Lee, you want to respond?
No, I think that's a great suggestion. We have to improve communication with the citizens in every aspect. I think that's one area that, you know, we can definitely do a better job in. It's hard for me to keep track with a lot of these special meetings sometimes myself. So I know it would be helpful and in the best interest of the citizens if we start putting those up. As far as the website, I know that that is underway, and I would like to be a part of that. And we'd like to take all citizens' suggestions on that matter, what you'd like to see on the website. One thing I'd like to see, and I see we have a Tuskegee virtual over here, I'd like to see every city council meeting recorded and broadcasted live on the internet through services like Ustream. So people that can't come out to the meetings, they can watch from home, and, you know, citizens can just be more informed in general. The ultimate goal is to get our local access channel back up and running, channel 6, to the level that it was. And when we do that, we can have every meeting, you know, listed on that channel. We can have them broadcasted, and you know, I think that working with Tuskegee University is probably the best way to get that done. So, great suggestions.
Well said. Thank you for your suggestion, ma'am. Thank you for your response, Mr. Councilman. Mr. Frazier?
Leon E. Fraser, Brothers Drive. Mayor Ford, when you went to talk to Ms. Wilson of the IRS, did the city manager go with you?
Let me correct you. I spoke to Mrs. Wilson over the phone. I met with the state director. So we dealt with the top lady, Mrs. Wilson, bless her heart, will be retiring soon. But to answer your question, no, neither Mr. Smith nor the city manager went with me. As you know, those two individuals are they're being held personally accountable for that transaction and that particular situation. So I took the initiative to make the arrangements for myself and the district attorney to pursue this.
So your answer is when you talked to the IRS, the district attorney was with you each time?
I said, as I explained to you earlier, sir, the district attorney was on the conference call. I was in the office, he was in his office on the conference call. So we had, as you know nowadays, many meetings are held by conference call. So the DA was on the phone and we had the conference call.
Did you make the city manager aware that you were going to have that meeting?
No, I took the initiative as mayor of this city to do what I felt was professionally the right thing to do, is to make contact with the Internal Revenue Service and get on top of this situation as soon as possible.
Okay, and the final question is,
yes,
when you discussed the issue with the gentleman who just came to the mic from Mississippi, was the city manager in that meeting?
As a matter of fact, Mr. Frazier, for the benefit of the public here, this whole issue was not called to their attention. They called it to our attention. Not this gentleman came, but the president of the company, Brandon Coma, called for an appointment.
Our attention included the city manager?
Let me just finish. Brandon Coma called for an appointment. Not only did he brief me, but I also introduced him to the city manager, and he had a chance to also share the information with him as well. The city manager is here, and he can attest to that.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please. Bernice and Bernice and picture Mike down and introduce mother, please.
Oh, this is my mother.
All right.
Well, I want to ask you this question. It may sound silly, but is there anybody that can loan us the money to pay off the IRS?
Well, we're proposing. Her question is, Bernice's question is that anyone who can loan us the money
To pay off the IRS.
Yes.
See, if we pay off the IRS, then we won't have this interest and all of that added to it. But we'll have a big bill that we have to pay. But you won't have the interest that the IRS is, they add interest day after day after day. Have anybody here ever owed the IRS any money?
Yes.
Yes, we.
Well, you know when you owe the IRS, the best thing you can do is go borrow that money, pay them off, and then pay the bank off when you get the money from them. Okay, now I know it's a lot of money, like I say. I don't know if there's a government agency that would loan us the money. To me, it would be better if we paid them off.
Did you finish, Bernice? Did you finish your question?
I don't have the money.
Okay, well, we don't have it as well, but thank goodness, let me have your all's attention. Thank goodness municipalities do have the wherewithal and the ability to borrow. And the easiest way to do that and the lowest interest way for cities to raise money to do what they need to do is to float a bond, public bond. That's why it's better to float a bond than to go to a conventional bank, a regular bank, and get a conventional loan. Plus, you can normally get more in a bond than you can. So please, so just bear with us. We're working as hard as we can to pay the Internal Revenue Service off as soon as we can. Okay? I know the citizens want that, and our employees want that, and they're entitled to that. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm new to the area, so I'm not really familiar with a lot of things that go on here in Tuskegee, but as a concerned citizen, also as a concerned parent, I am trying to figure out, is there a way, are our finance records available to the public as well as our budget? And where will we get those? And if they're not available, why not? Because it is our money, essentially.
You're new. Would you please identify the normal procedure is to identify yourself and give your address for the record.
Okay.
Well,
my name is Danita Phillips, 818 Highland Hill Street that needs repairs as well.
Thank you. Welcome. Now, all of this is public information. The budget we'll be happy to make you a copy of, and it's here in all of the records. The accounts payables are here, so it's all public information. So where? And just contact our city manager. And as was indicated earlier, we hope to have the website up very soon. And then we'll have the agendas, the budgets, all of that on the web page so that you can access it that way as well. But it's all public information.
All right, thank you.
And what's the street? Let's make a note of it. It needs to be repaired.
Just choose one. Really, I live on Highland Hill, but no matter which way I go, there is a street issue. So, and I think as we look at that, that's a compound issue for us here because if people can't get to work, they can't pay taxes, the cars tear up because our roads are so bad. I mean, I think we compound the problem, but yet we patchwork it, and it just doesn't work out. I think right now, that's why I'm kind of interested where our money is going.
Yeah, we'll agree with you. Yes. Council lady.
Highland Hills is in District 3, and I invite you to attend our meetings once a month. And if you're not able to attend, I will certainly send you the updated information. We do have a grant that's going to actually make that part of District 3 a very, very, very beautiful community in District 3. So I will give you the timeline. We've already let the bids, or we are in the process. Am I right, Mr. City Manager?
We did let the bid.
So just a little patience with us, and we're going to have Highland Hill, Southmont Drive, and that entire area, along with some structures, dilapidated structures torn down.
But that was part of my concern because I heard them talking about we're in a $90,000 deficit, and I remember reading in the paper a few months ago that there was a grant awarded for certain areas, and that was a part of it. So I was trying to figure out how we were going to work that.
It's a process, and it's federal funds, so we have to follow the process.
No problem. Thank you.
We have the grant, y'all.
But
That's
the
important.
good thing is we got a grant.
Do we have a scheduled time when we still
Yes,
taking
I have a time frame I'm looking for, and I'll share that with you after.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Davis, could you please? Oh, GS, okay. Yeah, we have done an hour of this thus far, and we still have a hearing, but go ahead. Yes, yes.
Mr. Mayor, councilpersons, manager, attorney, deputy clerk. I think, and this council is not aware of my continual demand or request for us to restructure the way that we have council meetings. Everything that I've heard for the last hour and 7 minutes that was supposed to be in the business meeting and brief citizens communication has, it's gotten out of control. What we need to do is go back to what they originally tried to do. We need a meeting that has a work session only. And everything that was brought up tonight should have been in the work session. And then on the following meeting night, it is a business agenda And the citizens have no input in that because they've already had their input. And your meetings go a whole lot faster and they'll be less contentious. Thank you.
And thank you, T.S. Williams, and but I have learned to just go with the flow. I have whatever they want to do. It's fine. All right. Okay, seriously, what could you all please though? We have been here a long time already, and we haven't got into the agenda. So, if it's okay, council members and citizens, if you all please just let us move and take care of business. And at the end, if anybody's still standing, we'll open it up again. Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Attorney.
Don't forget, but we have to follow what the agenda says and the rules that the council has adopted.
Yes.
So we've had, most respectfully, sir, the citizen comments.
You're right. All right, go ahead.
Mr. Attorney, we briefly discussing this idea of amending our rules in the future so that if that's possible, so we can consider what Mr. Williams has said, Mayor and I, Councilwoman Moon, and want to talk with the other council members about considering amending that so that we can have time at the front, limit that time to so many comments or so many minutes, and then come back at the end, as the mayor has said. Is that possible? We could offer an amendment toward that?
You mean at some other time or for tonight?
No, for some other time,
yeah,
moving
sure.
forward, so that we don't have the problem in the future, that we say limited to no more than 30 minutes, so that we don't interrupt the whole meeting, and then proceed, and then anything not addressed at that time could be addressed at the citizens' concern at the end. So we cover both what Mr. Williams said and Ms. Jackson said.
At the work session, those things can be worked out.
And actually, you can introduce that tonight, because you remember that was your area. If you want to introduce it tonight, because we're talking about changing, it's an ordinance, it could be introduced tonight, that we amend our meeting and then put it on the agenda to vote on next go round. During the section where we amend the agenda, which is coming up soon. Is that all right, Mr. Attorney? Well, resolution, we adopted a resolution adopting our rules of operating. But at any rate, whatever you all want to do, let's move this, please. Shall we go to the approval of the agenda? Mr. City Manager, I had 2 or 3 other little items I had that list here. Can you mention those? We had a couple resolutions I wanted to put in for Ms. Maddie Brown lost her daughter, and there were a couple. And then Drew Simpson. You got all those?
You just have 2 resolutions.
Okay, all right. So I want to add those.
And bereavement resolutions.
Okay.
It's Nita Brown and Drew Edward Simpson.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other items you'd like to add? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, you also have discussion on exit 38 and the Tuskegee landfill.
Okay.
That's on the same sheet.
Okay. I won't say much about those tonight since the time has gone so far, but I do want the citizens to know that we're working on exit 38. We had an excellent meeting with all of the property owners that we are proposing, because our plans are to work with those property owners to develop 38 hotel, restaurant, service stations, retail outlets, so that we'll have a nice intersection there. But in the meantime, while we're doing that, there are 3 things we wanted to do. 1, get the property owners to clean up their property out there now. So, cut the grass, clean up now. Number 2, stop making that a truck stop. That's the front door to our city. And we want to ask the police department, the city manager, through the police department, to enforce the laws. No trucks, overnight trucks. It's not a truck stop. And then thirdly, to make sure that trees were cut so that we could have a view from the interstate to see the airport and that area. Today I spent an hour or so out there riding around with the forester, looking at all of the trees and bushes at that intersection. And last night the Utilities Board in its work session talked about the 5 acres that the Utility Board owns out there, going ahead getting it cut and trimmed. The manager indicated that we already have that authorization, and so we are moving on that aspect. Now the landfill, we need a landfill. We'll spend more time on that one next. Next time the city manager can work to try to get that resolution, whatever we need to do for the next meeting if possible. Please, sir, if you can. Being none other, if any others, do any others have anything? If not, Chair will entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved, ma'am.
Moved by Councilor Whitehead.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Lee. Questions, comments for the approval of the minutes? All in favor of the motion, please give the sign of aye. Opposers, please give the sign of nay. The agenda is approved. Chair will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for November the 27th, 2012. Moved by Whitehead.
Second.
Second by Lee. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion give the sign of aye. Opposers, nay. Motion is carried. Communications from the Office of Mayor. The work session, we have already gone through that. Council members, do you have any further? Council Lady Moon, you had mentioned that you may want to continue some more comments about streets or whatever, or did you finish?
I finished. I just
Okay.
wanted to make the announcement again about the contest that the Clean Cities is having for the best decorated district, a little friendly competition among the districts, and also the storefronts downtown. We will have a plaque or a certificate ready to present, hopefully at the 18th meeting,
Okay.
that we will present.
Just
Yes, ma'am.
Would that just be one person out of all the 3 districts?
No, one person, one family per district, yes. And the storefronts downtown will kind of compete.
Okay. Yes, fine. Any comments from any other council persons?
One more comment on street repairs. Now, if we were to, get the money to start doing some of these street repairs, is the street study that was done, Mr. Davis, I guess some time ago, that identified the most need areas as far as priority of fixing streets, that's still current, or would another study or assessment like that need to be done?
No, we don't need to do another assessment. We already know which streets we need to do. We have a
Okay.
priority list.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other items, any other council members? Discussion items, let me, since the night is already gone, 3 items here. Public vote on the form of government. During the campaign, all of us remember the issue of the form of government was an issue that was discussed by the citizens quite a lot. Therefore, council members, I'm going to suggest that we do have a public hearing on this item as well as the other 2 items, because to have a public vote on the form of government, there's a procedure that's involved in that process. So I'd like to suggest to the council, one, that we set a time, perhaps at another meeting or at a special meeting, have a hearing on giving the citizens an opportunity to vote on the form of government. The citizens themselves ought to have an opportunity to resolve that rather than just this council. They made that decision in the beginning, so they should have that opportunity. Secondly, open containers in downtown Tuskegee. Part of our effort to revitalize downtown is to stimulate activity in the downtown area. Events and festivals and all kinds of activities, barbecues and cookouts and music and blues festivals and gospel and all kinds of things. And one of the successes that Montgomery has had, of course, is their open containers policy in the downtown, which allows open containers. And we would like to also give our citizens an opportunity to have input on considering that option, so that they can have alcoholic beverages at their various events. And of course, it would be the city's responsibility to make sure that security is there and to make sure that people come and enjoy themselves and not be involved in something that's negative. The other one is a 1% increase in sales tax. We've talked about this before, but I suggest to the council that we set a hearing on it, because the city's got to find some way, well, two things. We've got to cut back, obviously. That's always number one. And we will be looking at the budget instead of just, we took the suggestion, instead of just doing away with the budget, to amend it as we go along. And so that's what we're in the process of doing. And a 1 cent sales tax, a public discussion on this issue would be the fair thing to do. And so that is another item I would suggest that we give the citizens an opportunity to give us input on. So at the next council meeting that we're scheduled, I'd like to set a hearing on these three items for our next council meeting, which is scheduled for the 18th, I believe. We moved it up, citizens, because it would fall on Christmas Day, and that would not be appropriate. Christmas is a sacred holiday. So I'd like to, council members, is that okay to put it on for a free public hearing for each of these?
The only issue would be, again, here is time. I think both of these are very controversial issues that will probably cause a lot of public comment, and, you know, I think maybe we might need a separate meeting just for those issues.
Okay. How about the 17th, council members?
We have time. I want to make sure that we have time
Council members, please.
to notify the press and just things of that nature, so it's too late for that.
Council members, whatever you so desire, you all can take this in the rest of the council and think about it, whatever. But, or these are not the most pressing issue. Now, the one that is important is some revenue. We do need to come up with some source of revenue. The Utilities Board has been very kind, and we do not propose on the utility side, and this too is for public information, to increase anybody's utility rates. I want anybody leaving here thinking that we are proposing to increase anyone's utilities rates. One of the reasons why we're working so hard to get Victorland reopened is because that's the largest customer, and that should help everyone, and perhaps we can look at going down on utility rates rather than going up. But still, we can't depend upon the utility system to totally support us. So what would the council like to do? I'll just go down to this. If y'all want to do it.
For the council, I would agree that we need to address these concerns. I would ask that we get whatever information is available that we can put out in writing in advance. That way, citizens can read for themselves what changes would occur, or how we would be affected as a community by any changes in the form of government, or any changes regarding open containers, particularly as far as security and police protection that would be needed, and what impact the 1% sales tax would have, and how that could possibly be used. As Councilman Lee had mentioned, we talked earlier about the need for support of the police department. Could we target part of that if that is so approved for particular functions?
Sure.
If we could just put out some general proposals in writing in terms of how this affected, in particular the form of government, if we could ask that someone from legal municipalities come in advance and be available, and that way it may cut down on some of the time, as you said, Councilman, by having advance information as much as possible.
Yes. Okay. Well said. Council Lady Moon, any comments?
I think the 18th is soon upon us. And if we wanted to go down, let's get the information out and perhaps revisit these three in January. And because the 18th is soon upon us, and public vote on the form of government, we do need a lot of information regarding that, because even if we voted to change, it is my understanding that it doesn't take place next 4-year term.
Yes.
So let's visit that probably in January for the public hearing.
Sure.
Madam Board,
Yes.
citizens, I feel that we should do this simply prior to what
The mic is not on.
Councilwoman Woodward said, but this man. Possibly we should come back at the first council meeting in January and discuss these items. And the citizens will have Christmas to think about it and part of New Year to think about it. So you can talk it over and get your friends to come out and we can have some hearings on it. But we do need to do something because Tuskegee needs some money.
Okay.
You know, in the outlying area, we have 9 cents tax. In Opelika and Auburn, Montgomery was 10 cents, so we are low here. So we need to talk about it.
Councilman Lee, thank you, ma'am.
I agree with the rest of the council. I think January is a good start. And I think it was a great suggestion, Councilman Haygood, to have a representative present from the league of municipalities just to explain to the citizens, you know, and answer all questions that they might have about proposed changes.
Okay, great. And I agree with the rest of you all. Okay? I'm learning how. Okay, let's go ahead on to announcements. Any announcements, Madam Deputy Clerk, any of you all down there? If not, had a great parade. Let's thank everyone who participated in the parade. Let's give them a hand. That was great, the county, city parade. And Paul Hill and others who worked to make it possible. SGA, anyone here from SGA? Yes, thank you, ma'am, for coming. AKA's in the house. Ms. Ortiz, yes, thank you, AKA.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. City Manager, Madam Deputy Clerk, Mr. City Attorney, citizens of Tuskegee, good evening.
Good evening.
The president for SGA regrets that he can't be here this evening. Of course, he finished his finals and he's on holiday break. But he sent me a message and he asked that I speak on his behalf to let the city know that SGA certainly thanks you for your continued support and collaboration, and also presently and in the future, and also to let you know that Tuskegee University is very proud and pleased to present the HBCU Alliance Summit, which will be held April 18 through 21 on campus. And this will be the first time that Tuskegee University's SGA will host this event. So of course, we'll be getting information out to the city. We hope to collaborate with the city regarding that alliance, but also it will bring HBCUs and Black student unions from across the nation here to our campus. And we're looking at hopefully 150 plus students from around the country to be here at least. So we will certainly keep you apprised and we certainly wish to collaborate with the city in that regard.
Yes.
That will be Thursday, April 18 through Sunday, April 21, 2013. And we have a number of guest speakers, forums, panels, and workshops scheduled for our student leaders from around the country. And we also have planning on having a historic tour of the city as well.
Outstanding. Thank you. Any other questions, Councilman Lee?
I would like to add, SGA and Ms. Ortiz, they do a great job, and you know, we've been working with them and want to continue working with them. I'd like to also add that I'm currently putting together an advisory committee that's made of Tuskegee University students to bring forth issues from the students directly, you know, from them, of things that are going on the campus and things that they'd like to see in the community. So I just wanted to make that announcement, and if anybody here is interested, you can contact me about that committee as well.
Okay, good. Thank you so very much. Give our regards to the president. I hope you tell him we hope he made all A's. Okay, Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. Tonight, under the City Manager's Communications, we have a number of items. The first is the Tuskegee Macon County Head Start Report. At the first meeting of every month, we include on your agenda the Tuskegee Macon County Head Start. It is a requirement as part of your shared governance with the Policy Council. The Council acting as the Board of Directors is also part of your oversight and accountability of the program. We present every first meeting a number of items from the Macon County Head Start. So in your packet tonight is four items. The first is the Head Start Director's Report. Head Start Director outlines all the activities for the previous month of November in detail in your report, outlining the various activities that was held and part of our program during the month of November. She did highlight one item, and you can see that in bold, and indicating that the new fiscal year began November 1st and has received 80% of its funding. The remaining 20% is expected but contingent up to the vote of Congress regarding the Head Start funding. The program has 90 days to close the prior year on 10/31. However, the program is scheduled to close by December 2012. So she put that note in there just indicating you that the new fiscal year began November 1st. Also included is the enrollment report. The program funded enrollment requirement is 307 students. You can see we are funding enrollment as of November for 307 students, and we do maintain a small waiting list. The next item is the monthly summary of meals and snacks that's provided through the USDA. The program receives funding through the USDA to provide meals to our students, and you do notice in your packet there's a listing of all the various centers in the program, the number of meals that were served both in the mornings, also at lunch, and the snacks provided. And you can see just how many have been served to our students in the program. Finally, there is a detailed revenue and expenditure report from 11/1/11 through 10/31/12. The program is funded by federal funds. Therefore, we're required to meet all of the requirements relating to our budget. The Board of Directors and Council adopt the budget at the beginning of the year. The program is on budget, and we do expect the year to end within the budget as that was passed by the board and also concurred by the Policy Council. So all those items is included. Also included is the credit card expenditure report. As part of that revenue and expenditure report listed for your information. The Head Start Director, Ms. Nanette Phillips, is here. Ms. Phillips, if you raise your hand, everyone knows Ms. Phillips. She's our Head Start Director, so should you have any additional questions, please feel free to direct them to Ms. Phillips. And also the liaison from the council to the Head Start program is Ms. Moon. Councilwoman Moon is here, and she may also have some additional comments regarding the report. Councilwoman Moon.
I just have one comment to my colleagues, and that is that I have served as liaison for the Head Start, and usually each administration will select a board member to be, a council member to be the liaison. And because of my increased volume of meetings and demands, I'd like for this council to select one of its members to the liaison for the Head Start program. We can put that on the agenda for the next meeting if you'd like. I just wanted, that was my comment.
Okay.
I served this 2 terms.
You've done well.
Thank you.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion. Mr. City Manager wants us to go ahead and adopt this report, comprehensive report. The chair will entertain a motion that we adopt the Head Start report.
Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Council Lady Moon. Second by Council Member at Large. Haygood. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion give the sign of aye. Opposers, please give the sign of nay. The motion is carried. Proceed, Mr. Manager.
The next items are related to our alcohol beverage licenses. Tonight, we have two license requests. The first is GS Package Store, 203 Martin Luther King Highway. It's a request for a lounge retail liquor class 2 package. The applicant is Gloria Pearson. Public hearing was announced, and so we need to hold one tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Shall we entertain a motion that we go into the public hearing for GS Package Store, 203 MLK Highway, lounge retail liquor class 2 package, applicant Gloria Pearson, public hearing. Shall we entertain a motion? Moved by Moon. Second by Lee. Questions, comments? Those in favor of the motion give the sign of aye. Opposers nay. The public hearing is now open. We will have an opportunity for yea and nays, and this time, can we limit those to no? What did you say, Mr. Turner?
Yes, to a reasonable amount of time. Yes, sir.
3 minutes? Okay, all right. Here we go, Ready?
My Lord, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. An appeal to Tuskegee City Council for historic preservation. And as I've already mentioned, tonight we are holding a public hearing to address the request for an alcohol beverage license. The request specifically relates to the GS Package Store, 203 Martin Luther King Highway. The site is recognized as the old Greyhound bus station. As a concerned retired citizen, I issue an appeal to the Tuskegee City Council for historic preservation when deliberating on the possible conversion of this site to a liquor store. The history of the old Greyhound bus station is more than a place where travelers boarded and deboarded a bus. Rather, this is an historic site and holds a memorial reflection from the American Civil Rights Movement. Yes, this station is the site where the slain body of Sammy as I knew him, Young Jr., was recovered on January 3rd, 1966, after he attempted to use the whites-only restaurant at the Standard Oil gas station next door. Restroom, I'm sorry, thank you. As an enlistee in the United States Navy, he was suffering from a failed kidney, which had earlier been removed. Many of you may not have known that. Thus, on January 3rd, a pause for the cause was upon his body. Further, an historic reflection reveals that Sammy Young, a Tuskegee Institute student and civil rights activist, was the first black college student to be killed in the civil rights movement. The recorded history documents such. Members of the City Council, Tuskegee City Council, I passionately appeal to you for a no vote on this alcohol beverage license request. Your no vote will be an official voice of historic preservation of the old Greyhound bus station in the city of Tuskegee. Lorraine Motel did not turn that motel in Memphis, Tennessee, where Dr. King was assassinated. They did not turn it into a liquor store. It is now a museum. Let's be historically preserving. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next person.
Since I was handed the microphone, I would like to say that this is an opportunity to make that a historic site that would be visited, a place other than just the university. And of course, with this, you have a lot of possibilities of funding. And it would be nice to have a legitimate attraction that would bring people in and then be able to actually have some historic artifacts in the area regarding the participation of students in the civil rights movement. That could be a new landmark for Tuskegee. So there are many other uses of that facility that would better, I think, serve the Tuskegee community at whole than just the liquor store. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person.
Well, may I ask a question first?
Yes, sir, go
On
ahead.
a special privilege, I guess. Is it out of, can we hear from the applicant perhaps, just to explain, you know, exactly what is her intention?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe the way to do it is have one pro and one con. Right. Gwen, you have a suggestion?
The proper way to do it is to call for all who want to speak in favor of it, then all those speak. Then who all wants to speak in opposition, all those speak.
Well, since we started with the
of course, the applicant gonna be for it, so.
Right. So, we started with the opposition, so shall we continue that line of
Okay, that's
questioning?
fine, opposition.
All right, whatever you all want to do here. All right, so, this is for the opposition. So, well, is there any other opposition? Just, okay, let's give you a seat. Or we can do it, maybe.
I should make my point first.
That's why I was
Before we
good to hear.
start opposing or going.
Okay, all right, well, council, why don't we do that? Council Lee, is that all right with council members? Okay, let's hear from the property owner and what she proposes to do, please.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor,
Good evening.
council members, new elect and incumbent, Georgia Moon, and Attorney Gray, Deputy Clerk Hughley, and City Manager Davis. My name is Gloria Pearson. This is my second appearance before the City Council. Prior council, I did last March, and I was denied. I understand, I hear everything that has been said in reference to preserving the historic site, but it has been almost 40 years. I knew Sam Young. I was a student at Tuskegee Institute on the night that he was killed. I had returned from Christmas break. I'm aware of what happened that night and the history behind it. But why, after all these years, when I, a citizen in Tuskegee, I am a registered voter, I am a dedicated poll worker in all elections here in Macon County and the city. So I feel that I'm being treated unfairly in getting a liquor license approved. That building has sat idly by all these years after it closed, and no one made an attempt to do anything with it until I came up and said that I wanted to do it. And correction, it's G's Package Store, capital G apostrophe S, G's Package Store. I said to the council on my first appearance that I would provide my own security. It's not that it would be a place for lottery, hang out with drunks, drug addicts, or whatever. I would have control of the area. I just don't want to set it up for another place for people to lottery. And I have signs up already, no lottery. I'm constantly checking that place. Last appearance, my first appearance, Chief Patrick spoke and said that it was a high crime area. The whole city and county is a high crime area. There are other people who are not denied liquor license. They are basically in a residential neighborhood. So why can't I get a liquor license? Why can't I be given the opportunity to be a business person, to belong to the Chamber of Commerce? You're constantly saying we need to get businesses here in Tuskegee. It was also said that